Hey guys, just got done watching Tales from the Darkside Season 1, Episode 19, Levitation, which aired on the 19th of May 1985, was directed by John Harrison and written by Joseph Payne Brennan and David Gerald. So this episode starred Joe Turkel, who most will know from The Shining and Blade Runner, Brad Cargill, Cynthia Frost, Anthony Tompkins, and John Marzilli. And basically, this episode's all about Frank, who basically is obsessed with magic. And he's obsessed with Kharma, because Kharma can do this levitation trick with no strings, and apparently learned it from Houdini himself. So Frank and his friend Ernie basically go there to this really bad, really cheap looking grotty carnival where everybody looks like they're a wreck, basically. Like, for instance, Kharma and Flora's his assistant, they both had big potential, they both did big things, but after a tragic accident, they ended kind of lower than the high they were. So I kind of felt bad for Kharma and Flora straight away, because this isn't your usual carnival. What I mean by that is, most carnivals are big, they look great, and you have loads of people. This one doesn't have hardly anybody. It looks grimy, gritty, dirty, really horrible. Like if you walked on it, you'd be a bit like, you know, what's going on? So basically, they get there and he sees all these different acts, like a girl headless and all this, and then they find Kharma. And Kharma does usual tricks that most magicians do: the flowers out of the jacket, the guillotine, and other things. And so after the show, Frank's like, why didn't he do the levitation trick? Why didn't he do a levitation trick? I want to see Kharma. And he talks to Flora and he goes, can I speak to Kharma? And she goes, no. He doesn't see anybody, and he just basically goes by and goes, Kharma. And he goes, didn't you tell them? And she goes, yeah, I did, but they persisted. So Kharma basically tries to tell Frank that he never did it, and that Houdini never passed on his secrets to anybody, and basically tries to, you know, swap him off. But Frank basically goes on at him like, no, I know you did. It was in the paper, blah, 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 blah. And you just think to yourself, what a whiny kid this guy is, you know? So basically, as he's leaving, Flora says to him that he did the levitation trick and he was better than Houdini. But after an accident involving his daughter for doing the levitation trick, he doesn't do it anymore. And you kind of feel bad for Kharma, because you're like, wow, magic has killed someone you loved. It's taken something precious away from you, your daughter. And no wonder you don't want to do it. No wonder you're where you are now, because you had big potential and it was wasted by the accidental death of your daughter. And that's really sad, because you look at Joe Turkel, who's playing Kharma, and he actually looks like he's wrecked. He looks like he's lost everything. He does. He looks like he's a drunk just going to work because he can, basically. Because he has to. So they go back into the show with him doing the stuff again. But this time Frank is heckling him and basically going, oh yeah, it's already under your jacket. And he just keeps on about it over and over on every trick. And then he says, then he says to him, oh look, the rings. The rings, oh yeah, the rings, oh yeah, the Chinese rings that slide through each other, oh yeah. And so Kharma basically stops. He says, Frank, you're enjoying yourself. What do you want? And he goes, I want the levitation. And Kharma goes, you've got it. And Flora's like, no, Kharma, no. Please don't. So then he gets him up there and he's finally levitating Frank, and he's like, and you can see that he's putting all this energy into it and it's really affecting him, you know, Kharma. And basically goes, rise, rise, rise. And I think Kharma has a heart attack. I think he has a heart attack because he dies and Frank keeps rising through the sky, basically, up and away. And his friend Ernie is like, come back, Frank, come back. Because it's like, I can't get him, can't get him. And that's the end of the story. And to be honest, I found the story very creepy. Because it shows what obsession and asking for things that should be left alone does to you. Frank got his warning. I mean, the fact that Frank was inconsiderate knowing that Kharma's daughter had died from the same thing, yet still pushed for it, to be honest, caused him to be in the position in the first place. If he had a little bit more respect and a little bit more understanding for anyone but himself, he would have ended up in this position. So all the actors and actresses in this one, which was 5 people, did really, really good. I really liked it. I felt like Flora, Cynthia Frost, was a kind of old age assistant, magical assistant. And she looked like she'd been doing it for years. She looked like she was haggard, but she looked like she was, loyal to Kharma. And Kharma was the same way with Flora. And you could see that. You could see their bond. And you'd have felt that she was really his magical assistant. But the character who played Frank was really weird, in my view. He was constantly heckling, and for somebody who admired somebody, he was quite aggressive. And Ernie was kind of like his quiet friend and didn't really say much. And when he did, it was normally, Frank, I don't think you should be doing this. But he doesn't listen to him either. So like I said, it's Frank's own fault. I'm going to give this a 4.5 because I highly enjoyed this episode. And I thought it was one of those kind of, you get what you ask for. And sometimes what you ask for isn't always what you're going to actually get. If you know what I mean. So yeah, I'll give it a 4.5 because it was great. Joe Turkel, amazing as always. Brad Coghill, what a name, awesome. Cynthia Frost, great as the assistant. Anthony Tompkins, Ernie didn't do much, but he was okay. And John Marzilla as the Carney. I can't remember who he was. But other than that, great. It was a great episode. I highly recommend it because it will teach you something. If you can't get something, sometimes keep your mouth shut because you might get it, but you might not get it the way you want it. That's the highlight of this episode. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. And if you haven't, please subscribe and have a lovely day. Thanks for watching, guys.